I think we're live. Welcome to Tuesday at 7. Thank you guys for joining us. It is April 1st, and I don't know, you promised that there wasn't a whoopee cushion upstairs.
I did.
But happy April Fool's Day. This is not a joke. We're here with Jimmy Committe, and I know that if you have ever been down near negative space, we don't even have to pen out, but you recognize this, I don't know, it's like a museum down here. It's an ultimate gallery. And you guys know that Gadi Zamir is not only for causes, and he brings artists together, but great artists as well. And this is where your creative space is. So we're going to start here and
nonprofit organization offering encouragement and opportunities to up-and-coming artists such as myself. That's the spiel that I'm working on when I have to walk in and greet the new people. I've been watching Gadi do it, and he just wants to stand up there and smoke cigarettes and paint. He don't want to deal with everybody all the time, so I got to step in and like fulfill the role. You know?
Because that's what you found yourself here, right? You find yourself as an artist going, okay, I want to find a space. Give us the backstory.
I was perfectly happy doing it in my living room.
Yeah,
but Tessa LeBaron, she was up in the space that she inhabited for 7 years.
Yeah.
And being around all this creativity, you get kind of prolific.
Yeah.
So she outgrew her space, and she's worried. She's thinking, "Oh, I got to move." She goes to Gadi, "I got to move." Gadi says, No. Enough of that. We'll move you down the hall. She's down the hall there with Gadi's son, Yuval. And he called me up. "Hey, can you be here in an hour?" "Yeah, I'll be here." I figured he wanted me to lift some,
I'm hang some work.
Yeah, I brought my work gloves. He sits me down. He says, "Hey, Tessa's moving. I want you to have this." And I would have been a fool and a coward, probably both together, if I would have said no. I had to say yes.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I was hanging out on Saturdays making work. I'd be sitting there at the table. He'd be up on the stage. And we would work in relative silence. We wouldn't. His music would be playing. I'd be there cutting my little guy out. He'd be there burning the table. And then it would get dark. He'd say, I feel like leaving. I'll say, all right, I'll see you next week. Yeah. And that was the extent of the relationship, kind of. We got to know each other. We liked each other's vibe. But I don't know, eventually it came to the point where it became obvious that I belonged here. Oh.
Yeah. No, and I absolutely agree. And we're going to explore that more here. Thank you guys again for joining us. It is Tuesday at 7. Tuesday at 7, we are a community here in Ohio. We're digital. We meet, as you can guess. I mean, people were guessing what time we were going to meet, and
they were way off.
They're way off.
Wednesday, 10 a.m.? No, it's right there in the title. All right, yeah. But what about Friday at noon? No, gosh darn it. Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday at 7.
And they wouldn't get it. I don't know.
They wouldn't get it. So you might not be joining us live. You might be watching the recorded copy. But if that's the case.
Morning, Grandma.
Yeah. Hang on tight, because we're going to have a meaningful conversation with Jimmy here as well. But you said that was up in that space. Up, like, suggests that
it is higher than normal.
Take us there.
All right.
So I know that a lot of folks, if you haven't been to Negative Space, one of the events, the open mic nights, the gallery, I mean, there's incredible artists that gather here, both for performance as well as...
Are you thirsty?
Pardon me?
Are you thirsty?
I am thirsty.
Thirsty? I got water. He's got a water. You want a beer?
Yeah, I'll take a beer.
You want a beer?
Okay.
There you go. There you are. Oh, here. Give me that. Let me...
So by up...
I'll open it for you. How's
up.
That?
Literally up.
Up. These stairs right here. Next to the bar. Next to the creepy demon wood lady. Up these steps. And what you're going to want to do is, folks, when you come here, you got to mind the bright blue kangaroo, because this step will kill you. And we don't have that kind of insurance.
Literally up. So we were with Tessa and Kara a few weeks back.
Yeah.
We had a chance to visit Tessa's new spot, Kara's new spot, but Kara also has some stuff below your space.
And she comes up sometimes she has a seat in the chair, and like everybody who sits in that chair, because it's so gosh darn comfortable, she just opens up, and everybody who sits there opens up, and because usually this is the last place that people come.
Yeah.
You know, they wander all around, and then they come up here like they're breaking a rule. Can I? Yeah. Please, I'm trying to make some money. And they usually hang out, and if I can get them to, I have them sit down. And they expected to be off getting their Korean pickup.
Yeah.
No, they're here for an hour sometimes, and we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know. I don't remember their names. I don't remember their faces anymore, but that's a good time.
The time we spend together. Yeah. That's the place.
That's the chair.
So when you come up and check out Jimmy's space, you're going to come up the steps, and you're going to
not trip on the steps.
Not trip on the steps, and you're going to see the chair.
You're going to see the chair.
The big green chair.
Because there's no reason I'm moving that ever again, because that was a real bastard to get up here.
I was here the time that there were 2 or 3 of you trying to lug that thing up here.
Not fun.
Not fun.
No.
It'll be here forever unless you cut it apart and take it down, right?
I mean, Gotti likes, I think Gotti sleeps in it when I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure of it.
That might be true. Take a look at the perch. Because not only is this a great space, but you get to look down on open mic, gallery, Tessa's work, Gotti's work, visiting artists' work. Like I could see why being in this space is alluring.
I am so gosh darn immature. And if I didn't have a tree house when I was a kid, I'd make one.
Yeah.
This just makes sense. Yeah. It was my own little private.
It's your creative tree house.
Yeah.
It's a creative tree house.
Yeah.
I love it. So who doesn't like to climb up a tree, right? I mean, it's kind of like a Dead Poet Society. Yeah, sometimes just stand up on the desk and look down for a different perspective.
That makes sense. I should look up that movie.
Have you not seen that?
I don't think so.
Did you see it? Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah.
We'll ask folks out there who has seen Dead Poets. I mean, maybe it's maybe I think more people have seen it than.
I'm guessing.
He said he's proud to have you here.
Gotti?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he lies very well. Hi, Gotti. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Gotti, and for really, bringing artists together in this space for sure. What a ambassador, Gotti. What an ambassador for the arts, right?
You know, I've seen him meet people, and hell, within a week they got a show in a month. You know, the first time I met him, I was coming. My friends were doing a show in the annex, and I heard their voices over here.
Yeah.
So I never heard of the place. I wander over. Of course, I'm awestruck because you have to be stone dead not to be when you walk in there. And within a half hour, he was saying, in 2025, we'll get you a month. I'm not going to do a Gotti impression. On the wall out in the annex, he's just generous.
Yeah.
And he says, we're all random particles, and some people attract and some people repel. And when he finds the people that attract, he likes to keep them close. He keeps the door open for them,
Yeah. I will say this is that when I first interviewed Gotti a few months ago, knowing Gotti is knowing, it kind of opens a circle, which is so many different artists. Certainly, we connected through Gotti, Tessa, Kara, so many different artists. Mm-hmm. And, we had the opportunity to do the shoe show,
That was my first
handful of weeks ago.
Event being here.
Yeah. And
thank you for doing that, because it gave me a sneak preview of everything that was going to come. And nice show, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Where was I going with that now? Here I am trailing off.
The network.
The network.
Maybe, right?
It's intimidating. I don't know nobody. Can we sit down?
Yeah, let's sit down. So do I get to sit in the
That's yours. That's your whoopee cushion.
All right. I might start to share more than people want to know sitting in the chair.
Who hurt you? Also, while you're in the chair, while you're in the space, I always offer oranges and peanut butter. For Pete's sake, it sounds disgusting, and most people say gross, but those that try it are usually pretty into it.
All right.
So rip that bad boy open.
Now, where did this orange come from? Is this just downstairs?
It's downstairs.
Yeah,
at the grocery there.
Because we're in Asian town. Or is it Asia town?
Asia town.
Asia town.
Yeah.
Right off, not too far off the Superior. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. East 38th, 1541. East 38th, on the second floor, above the Asian market.
Oranges and peanut butter.
Oranges and peanut butter.
Is this a April Fool's joke?
No. This is
all right.
Construction worker food. It's got your protein. It's got your vitamin C. What else do you need? Here. Put as much of that on there as you want.
You're gonna
do it like that. He's dipping off the spoon.
Bah. Here you go. You gotta partake as well. Craig's behind the camera today.
Thanks, Craig. What the hell did you ask me before I started doing this peanut butter and oranges?
We're talking about the network. We're talking about the network, and you said, well, let's sit down because you were saying it's like entering the space. You said you didn't know as many people, and it was intimidating. Was it like the company, the work, the what?
Well, the intimidating part is just my fault. I am a local or a recent transfer, relatively. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, like all the cornfields between Mansfield and Sandusky.
Wait a minute. This is good.
What I tell you?
I like it.
Huh?
Pretty good, Craig, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have never had it before.
If you send me $6, you can try this at home.
We'll send you a Venmo.
Please, yeah.
This is good.
So I moved out to Lakewood after like a big long series of a good bunch of years of being drunk, right? So you become an addict when you're drunk that many days in a row, a couple thousand. I came out here after a brief period of sobriety, and I started drinking again. And when you drink a lot, you don't have a lot of money for much else. So when you're looking around your fridge, you got peanut butter, you got oranges, and then you find it. Then you put them together, and you stay alive one more day.
You know what I mean? There's something potentially profound here that I'm picking up on, right? And is this a kind of a I don't want to say it's necessarily kind of like a ritual, but it's like knowing this is what I was spending my time doing, and this is something that was good from the past that I'm going to bring forward. When you can purge from the past what wasn't working,
right? And as a matter of fact, speaking of the past and things that I brought with me,
yeah.
Is this going to throw off the color scheme if I throw on my robe?
No, absolutely not.
I used to, in my little town, oh, that's good. I used to walk up to the gas station at like 5:30 in the morning with a pocket full of change looking for beer. Sometimes I have to front me a couple of dimes. But now I bring it along, oh boy, to into this new life that I've created for myself.
Yeah.
To give it a better home than it had, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a comfy robe. Treat them right. They'll treat you right.
You were working from your living room.
Yeah.
Gotti calls you up, and I mean, you had already kind of connected with the space and Gotti and maybe some other folks. And all of a sudden, Gotti's like, yeah, you know, Tessa is moving down the hall. I've got a space, and I think this might be the right place for you. What was going through your mind at that point?
Fear, shock, surprise. I don't know anybody. I started doing this like less than 2 years ago. And usually I'm pretty tight-lipped about that. I don't like to tell people that. But I didn't feel like I deserved it. And deserving recognition. Not yet, anyway. You always get that little piece of your brain that's like, gives you the marquee dream, you know.
Yeah.
But I like to keep myself a little. My ego can get pretty out of control. So, I wanted to turn it down. Like, ask me again in 10 years.
Yeah. I'm not ready now, right?
Yeah, but you don't do that. Not with something like this.
Yeah.
Or ever. because if you're not ready for it, it wouldn't be put in front of you, you know?
Yeah. When you said this, when you said I've started this, what is this? I mean, it's artwork. What is this? Is it? I certainly see some really freaking creative collage work. I also see, some assemblage a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Is that, and I hate to even categorize it, but is that how you might categorize it?
You asked me that earlier. That was a pre-planned question, everybody. You asked me that earlier, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I don't want to say I do assemblage because I don't want to be in the same category as somebody who really does do assemblage. Like, you ever met Sean Doyle?
No.
Guy out of Lakewood. He just got a studio over West 78th.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And like, he does assemblage. He paid me $6
to see that.
We'll
tag him.
Thanks. I find interesting frames, I suppose, and I just throw them in there. And let's leave it at that. Like this little guy, this little see-through baby.
So the home where that lands, because it's on glass, right? That could end up on a tabletop. It can end up.
I'd really like that. Yeah. Wherever. As long as the money makes it to my pocket, I don't care where they put it. The one on your left there, that assemblage, if you can show that one, we had Eminent Origins here. They were doing like the yoga practice, rave, and then the meditation on the ground. I'm not much of a dancer, but I was up here doing my little white guy bop, you know, kind of awkwardly bending my knees and drawing from that energy, like you were talking earlier, that drawing from this crowd, the people that come here that know that this is the right place, being up here in this space and just kind of like, you know, drinking the milkshake, kind of just, and then being able to make something like that just from the energy in the room.
Yeah. This one, if it wasn't sold, I may have bought that because this is a great piece.
Thank you very much. That's something that Gotti just handed me. And then I think maybe 2 days later that was made. I'm probably lying about that. It probably took 2 weeks. But yeah, he's very generous. He picks things up. He knows I could do something with that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what. And I try to honor that. Him and the place and all these fine people that keep showing up. Like I said, it was intimidating, but what a welcoming crowd.
Yeah.
This is.
You've probably even in the time that there is nobody in here, it's quiet like it is now, that the space itself is, probably inspires creativity that your living room wouldn't.
I live in the Plaza building on Prospect, which has a storied past, from being like a servant's quarters for like Millionaires Row to kind of where those millionaires would shuffle their girlfriends, to eventually becoming an artist shack.
Yeah.
Like Per Ubu used to live there. A lot of artists from around the city used to live there. So just being there, doing that little milkshake tap, just believing that the muse is going to find you where you're at.
Yeah.
At a desk, wherever at your laptop, just believing that being open to the muse, then she can find you anywhere.
Yeah.
But that place is being kind of built in.
Cool
shit happens here. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Cool stuff happens here. That's going to happen probably at least 7 more times.
That's all right. We're good on that.
Good.
Facebook doesn't care, and
no,
neither do we.
They encourage it. So yeah, it's wherever I am, I suppose. That sounds cocky. Wherever I am, I can make art. That's not true. I like to be comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Are you still working in your living room, or do you find yourself like kind of walking here for that time and leaving your?
I am so rarely home anymore for work, for any sort of social activities.
Yeah.
I work at main campus, Cleveland Clinic. I live on 30th and Prospect, and this is East 38th. So I get off of work. I'm here until the security guard tells me it's time to go.
Yeah.
And then I go home and sleep, and then I wake up and go to work.
Start over.
Yeah. And that's pretty much my life.
Yeah. Yeah. While Craig is here, right, we're going to turn around and take a look. But before we do that, this is where I think the magic happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Craig, your beverage is right over here, right in the corner.
And your water. Craig, beer then water. And alternate. What do you want to know? What can I tell you?
So your setup is such where you're well lit, right? Because we're in a space that you need that lighting.
Yeah, it can get a little dark in here sometimes, but that's... I like to speak mythologically about everything. Because for so long, like I said, I was a drunk and I didn't care about anything. Just like adopted nihilism because life is hard and I don't want to try.
Yeah.
Whatever. You don't get very far thinking like that.
Yeah.
Unless doesn't matter. So now I'm changing things. I went to AA, I quit drinking. A new way of looking at things. Accepting that there is something up there, you know?
Yeah.
Accepting that as a species, we are something special even. Don't trip on that tag. Recognizing that little God thing in this ape-shaped biomass. It's a responsibility. Anyway, back to the desk.
No, I mean, that's and I feel, kind of this divine sprinkling, right? That's probably in and out of many artists, certainly your story. But you find yourself sitting down, working.
Yeah.
And do you have an idea of when you start, or does it kind of create itself in the process?
I'm going to talk about alcoholism a lot because it's a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I drank because I didn't want to think about what was going on in my head. Now, if I don't want to drink, I have to think about all that stuff. I have to. It's necessary. To get some sleep at night, it's necessary to figure out what's going on and make it better. And my attention span is nowhere anymore. I want to look at my phone. I want to do anything but sit there and think about who I am. Jesus Christ, what a terrible, but it's necessary. So I was in a sober house. I was like 14 months sober, something like that. I moved in and they wanted to give me a TV. And I said, no, I don't want, because I'll watch it, because I will watch it. Yeah. You give me a video game controller. I'm going to do that all night. I'm just a little boy in this ape-shaped biomass. Give me a TV. I'm going to watch it. I said, no, don't do that. I got to think. And my guitar playing was not impressing my roommate. He did not like it. So I had to stop. He'd been in prison a couple of times, probably murdered at least 3 people. I wanted to stay on his good side.
Piss him off.
I put the guitar away. So, I always told myself, someday I'm going to start doing collage. So I've been collecting these little magazines and these little knives when I'd find them. And I just stash them.
Yeah.
And whatever. I got evicted from my house 14 months ago. Here's all my stuff in this one little tiny room that I'm sharing with this terrifying person. And I just busted out and I start cutting on this big old piece of 2x4 or plywood. It's quiet and it's something that I can do. I can stay up late at night, just quietly cutting. And I'm a dopamine fiend. I need that. So when I shared it to the internet and somebody said, "Hey, I like that," then I decided then that was just going to be my life from now.
I'll keep cutting.
I'll just keep
cutting up and creating that work.
Yeah, if I Anyway, I kept doing it. I still got that piece.
Which piece is it?
This is...
Is it a not for sale because it's such a meaningful piece?
No, I don't care about any of that shit.
Okay.
But it's pretty, I mean, it's my first one. It's rough. Let's Ignore the War, it's called.
It's you know, your style. Like if somebody were to see a collage, they'd go, "That's Jimmy's work." I mean, I can tell a style from it. And so when you are searching images in books, in magazines, wherever you find your source material, you're flipping. You probably know it when you see it, right?
Sometimes I have an inkling and I'll just put like a little bookmark or something, but you know, this is the cachet. So, you know, you pop open something, a bunch of license plates, an old Ferris wheel, and probably some nude lady knowing me. And then you got yourself a classic.
Gotcha. Where do you find your source material? The books, right? Because that's an important thing, because you need the pictures that help tell the story that your brain is, the pieces that your brain is putting together.
I spend my money very frivolously. I think a lot of addicts are like that they don't have like a real solid grasp on the concept of like contracts or money or like ownership. It feels very foreign. So when I get my paycheck, I just I pay the people that need to be paid, and then the rest of it I piss away. And usually I'm going into thrift shops and I'm buying a shirt that I'm never going to wear, or sometimes a shirt that you never take off.
Yeah.
Or a pair of pants that's just going to end up in the back of the closet. It's just to spend. It's just to be out somewhere, just walking amongst other living beings.
Other people.
But I wasn't getting nothing out of it. Just a bunch of clothes that don't fit. Because I refuse to try anything on. I'm just going to buy it because that's
what you do.
The exchange of the money is what sparks it's a very sad way. But when I found this stuff, now I know where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm walking into a spot. I can pick up a book, 3, 4 images. Yeah, I can use those. I'm going to take it home. And now I'm done. I paid for the book. I get my little dopamine rush. And then I'm back on the road, going to wherever I was now like 45 minutes late because I needed to spend my money.
Yeah.
But
when you find your source material, does the source material spark the work? Do you like to just go, I'm going to pick it up, bring it over, like there's some images here that are striking to me, and then that inspires? Or do you start your work and then go, I need to search the images that fit where your mind's at?
Perception is reality, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at something and it upsets you, that's your fault.
Yeah.
If you look at something that makes you happy, that's your privilege.
Yeah.
And like I said about, way to get me back on track, what I said about getting to know myself, if I'm flipping through and I see an image, regardless of context, I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
And so I put that little bookmark in there and I go flip around. And then if I feel that same thing, something commensurate, something complementary, then I'll try to weave them together. And it'll keep me seated for 4 or 5 hours while I think, well, why does this strike me? What happened in my past? What do I want in my future? And what are my motives? How am I remembering that wrong? How can I view it now to make tomorrow better? These various obsessions that I have it's going to keep me in business for a long time.
The question was probably an unfair one because the answer, I'm not answering for you, but the answer is probably all the above and none of the above, right? Because I think we artists don't think linearly, or it happens, right? It's the muse that strikes and the images that converge, and you're like, no, this got to go out, this got to come in. And work like this happens.
Which one are you looking at here?
The potential.
Yeah.
The composition is spot on. Now, did you ever take any art classes? Like, do you have some formal education, or are you just naturally talented?
I used the last 2 years of my high school career to go to a vocational school that was available to us. And the time really changed my life. But it was for visual communication design. And the same time, so that's 11th grade, which is, I found to be the perfect time to really amp up the drinking. So I usually would use that class time because the teachers they're teaching art class. They're not going to be strict with you.
Yeah.
If you want to sleep, sleep. Good luck to you. And that's what they did for 2 years. That's what I did for 2 years. So I mean, something must have seeped in and laid dormant for, 20 some odd years. I would complete the tasks, not enough of them. About May of my or April of my graduating year, they asked me to go to summer school. I told them no. I'm a successful high school dropout.
And was that the work is entitled Potential.
Yeah.
It's probably all subconscious, intertwined.
The
past history, past, present, perhaps even future.
Well, the fellas that can wow you with, like, they can baffle you with bullshit. When they're looking for a mate. Who am I talking like? When they're looking for a girlfriend, they probably seem great in the beginning because they're probably lying their asses off.
Yeah.
And the more you get to know them, you kind of see what the real them, which is probably just a gigantic boy.
Yeah.
And then now she's committed to taking care of this guy, and he's not really worth much. And she's reading a book in that one. Sorry for pulling you away, but she's reading a book there. And, she's figuring this guy out. I wasted my time. As things, time goes on, things change, people mature, or they don't.
Yeah. Never left. This one up here to the left. There's for sale because this. Tell us a little bit about the backstory for this piece.
My cousin tried to set me up with her classmate when we were all 12. We were all in the 7th grade, whatever. And I baffled her. What a good time we had. And then I didn't see her again until one night at an all-night truck stop diner. Me and my buddies were sitting at the counter, actually with the police officer. We were a speed trap town. The cop didn't care about us 19-year-old kids, just being drunk, walking up. He knew we were walking. He let us go. Or he didn't mess with us. But I see this woman behind me in the counter. I'm telling all my friends, I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to go talk to her. Don't talk to her. The cop says, don't talk to her. Anyway, when the cop went to the bathroom, I stole his toast. And I went up to her and I proposed to her right there. And she said no, because she was always the smarter of the two of us. Anyway, turns out she was that woman. The girl my cousin used to try to set me up with. I get kind of flustered when I think about it. That piece represents a close to 20-year on and off relationship with the person that formed my idea of what love is. For 2 years between 19 and 21, we just sat on my couch 3 nights a week. She'd just come over and we would talk. And I just fell in love for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we got a little older. We tried to date and my drinking got in the way, as it usually did. But that 2 years was a strong bond got formed. And anyway, that's a love letter from her from college, and a picture of us New Year's Eve 2018, and then 2 kids on a crazy roller coaster.
Yeah. Not for sale.
Not for sale.
Not for sale.
Don't even think about it unless you've got a lot of money, and then I will take you up on it.
I'm going to take a quick detour off here. We're going to come right back to some photos. Artists. I mean, I think, many of us deal with addictive personalities, and sometimes that's alcohol, sometimes it's weed, sometimes it's other things, right? For those that are behind you on that trail, right? Because you were like, came to a point and I said I had to make a change.
Yeah.
Any advice for those folks? Because those folks are watching.
Yeah, don't wait. And if you do, don't wait too long. Come up in negative space and talk to me about it. If you don't want to
sit in the chair.
If you don't, sit in the damn chair. Because chief of importance is being honest with yourself and having respect for the thoughts that are going on in your own mind.
Yeah.
Self-honesty, self-respect, and not clinging so hard to that story that we tell ourselves that how things are going to go. Then after a certain point, especially when you're using, the prime time for that probably has passed.
Yeah.
Or not, but that's how it feels. So
yeah. That's the lie, right?
When your friends start going off getting married, or starting businesses, or being in cool bands, or making cool art, all you can think about is the potential that you're not fulfilling, the shoes that you're not walking in, that you know that you ought to be.
Yeah.
As a human being, as a creature of God that can do what God does, which is create. When we don't do that, we stagnate and we leap into whatever escapism is closest. Usually it's the corner store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those folks that are watching, in the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an arrow. That arrow is the share button.
Yeah, don't you think everybody should hear this?
I think everybody should hear this because, I mean, for several reasons, but even if it's for a complete selfish reason, when you press that share button, we know it. And next week we're going to draw a winner of some of Jimmy's work. You want to pull out what we'll give away next week?
All right.
Did you already?
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
You know what? Because I didn't. This is where my misstep benefits you. They pull your name out of the hat next week. Come here and just grab one. Grab two, as a matter of fact. But you got to come here. I'm not your drug dealer. I'm not going to bring it to you. Come here and get a print.
That's great. So yeah, you can find the piece that speaks to you.
Yeah.
It might be this piece.
Masturbatorium, everybody's favorite. Brat. We got a piece called Fuck This Place. We got a piece called She of My Rib. We got a piece called The Creeper at the Malt Shop, which is definitely how I feel when I walk into these coffee shops, because I feel like I'm way too old to hang out. I got to get that coffee and go.
Get out.
Because otherwise I just feel like a lech just looking around and all these pretty little... Get out of there. Support. Don't worry about that.
So when you share...
You get the idea.
At the very bottom of the screen, if you press that arrow, Facebook will prompt you what to do next. You can certainly share it to your friends list. You can share it to a group. You could share it to a specific person. But when you do share, we know you've shared, and your name will be put in a hat for the drawing next week. But I say we went on a detour, and this detour is far off. If you were with us 2 weeks ago, we were with Mary Urbis.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
4,000 people watched that. 4,000 people watched that.
They should want to know what she's about.
I know, because she is a wealth of knowledge, top curator. She's well networked around. But I think it was, there were like 40 people who shared that. It might have been a couple extra. But if you shared that video within the last couple of weeks, your name is in this hat, and you get to pick the winner, and the winner is going to get 1 hour of private consultation.
Yeah.
With Mary.
Boy.
That's pretty valuable.
I hit that share button before I knew what the prize was.
Yeah.
And then when I heard it was her, she's going to come and she's going to tell you about your work.
Walk you through.
I was like, oh no, I hope I don't win. Because I didn't want her to come. I didn't want
Well, your name is in here, and I don't think we've ever had anybody draw their own name.
And you
I don't
won't.
think so. Have we, Greg? Beth, I don't think we've ever had that. But there's going to be a winner for the Barry Urbis giveaway. You want to go ahead and read that?
I can do that.
You're also choosing 39 losers, by the way.
Let's read them instead.
Loser.
Yeah. Luann Becker.
Luann, congratulations. She's a great artist, and she's a gallerist, and she does some curating herself. So, like, those two are going to get together.
Congratulations.
And so, Luann, thank you so much for sharing. We'll make sure, I'm sure they already know each other, but if not, we'll put the two of you in touch and get that underway. Thank you for sharing, being so transparent and sharing some advice.
Isn't it refreshing?
For those folks that are behind you, because there's milestones, that I think folks must pass, right? And sometimes that milestone may be turning 30, turning 35.
That's the worst one.
Or you're just like, okay, I got to get my act together.
Yeah.
And I have to stop, acting the same way as I did 10 years ago. And the fact that you're just like, listen, come up here and sit in my chair. Well, I'll kind of point what worked and maybe what didn't work, in your life.
Yeah. I don't want to tell anybody how to live. I just know what works for me.
Yeah.
And that was
and it inspires other people who have things that they're suffering with. Gives them hope and inspiration.
Yeah.
Hey, you did it, you surpassed this.
Yeah.
Gives them hope.
Just because I watched a lot of other folks do it too. I saw that it was possible. And
We've all been through some stuff.
I was in a 12-step program. Go ahead and take another sip of that beer while I say that.
Well, go ahead.
I was in a 12-step program, and it works. So not to pimp anything, but if you're hurting, if you're miserable enough, you've always got this idea that you got a problem with the idea of God or some group full of people in a church basement all talking about their problems. Take a swing at it. Go do it, because it's a lot better than waking up wanting to die every morning. Am I alone in that camera shot? Am I just doing a commercial for sobriety?
No, I think we're both in here. But even if you were, that's the important thing. For those folks that are watching this, or those folks that may share, there will be one or two folks whose life may be changed by watching this interview.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's like the 12th step. Once you kind of get better, you got to go you got to help people out.
Point away.
You have to be a conduit for the grace that was given to you by whatever you think it is. You just got to shoot little bolts at people of hope and happiness.
Yeah.
And just try to be the best you can. Not be too big of a scumbag.
Yeah.
That's my motto.
Don't be too big of a scumbag.
Have fun, but don't be an ass.
This work over here.
What?
I really like the work that has words in it too.
You like that? Huh?
I like the words. So sometimes it may be leading, but I like the words. They're colorful.
I find them to be a huge pain in the ass, but there is a band from out where I'm from. They're called the Midnight Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mark Grabus, Matt Beebe, Noah Hyman, and Corey Webb, all fantastic musicians. And I like them a lot. All through from living out there, going to the depths, whatever you want to call it, being a scumbag, and then climbing out of it. Folks like that were there.
Yeah.
Not just them, but folks stuck around. And whatever. I wanted to do something for them. And I had to practice cutting out I's and T's and H's.
Yeah.
Did
you play with them?
I played with Noah in a band when we were in high school. Noah Hyman, Joe Rusnick, and Tony Schaefer. We were in a band called Properties of Stubble. And we were the best thing in Ohio. That's probably not true. No, we played a couple shows and then we disbanded. But Noah and Tony went on to be pretty known in their own right.
the frames. That one certainly has a kind of a cathedral feel from this angle. Tell us a little bit about these three pieces here.
That was another one right there that an Eminent Origin show is going on down here. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching everybody have a good time. And I'm thinking to myself, what do I want in my life? And I need to be told what to do. I can't really manage myself all that well. And while it might feel like I'm being ordered around, by a significant other, I need that. I need that order and structure that I just have not yet been able to implement in my own life. And honestly, it's kind of hot getting bossed around sometimes. I like it. That's what drew me to that. This piece, Critics Darling, let's keep that one private.
Okay. Fair.
This is my favorite piece. This is my mascot, my rascal bastard.
Which is it a handle that you've used before?
Yeah, it's my current handle, which I shouldn't because I'm almost 40 and I shouldn't have an Instagram handle.
So is that your Instagram handle? So if it's people like are following you on Instagram, they'll be like
Rascal Bastard Collage. All underscores where spaces should be. All lowercase.
If you tag that Instagram handle here, we'll throw your name in the hat for second chance to win giveaway.
Giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, give more of my work away. Why don't you?
Be entered into that.
Yeah. I like this guy. He doesn't belong anywhere. He doesn't, and that's how I feel in Cleveland. That's how I feel here sometimes. But he makes it work because he doesn't care. He can't let himself care about it. Yeah.
Black and white, men's in color, doesn't belong. Lifting up his shirt, burying his soft belly.
Yeah,
showing off his tattoos.
It's F you, and he's got that wry smile.
Yeah,
That's
a good one.
Rascal bastard.
Your work is one that makes me think. And tell us a little bit about this square piece. That
tilt that a little bit so you can get it. That's the multifaceted sex pest. That's one of the autobiographical ones. Can I get you to get on that one more time before I start doing my spiel about it? Because I always like to point this out, that this is, I'm obviously stealing my work, but this background here is a British photographer named Stephen Fry, and he took that photo in the 80s, took a self-portrait through a wet mesh, and that gave all these little bubbles on his face.
Oh.
And I thought that was such a cool idea that whenever anybody points at this, I have to jump and make that known because it's so damn cool. And he's probably dead now, but because it was the 80s, so long ago.
Yeah.
But I'm a pain in the ass to love. Any ex-flame will tell you that. My mother will tell you that. I'm a pain in the ass, but I try to make it kind of worth it, But I've got, for Pete's sake, bipolar, massive anxiety. I can be kind of sketchy sometimes. So when a woman doesn't want to take time with me, I try to let her know it's appreciated.
Do you find that the process of collage or other artwork or playing guitar or none of those helps you process through that? You're like, okay, if I find myself with anxiety or it's a blue day or it's a yellow day, is it when you start to create, does it change things or is it just or not?
It lets me sit down at a desk for 4 or 5 hours and actually think about that problem. I was probably alluding to that earlier and got thrown off on some wild tangent. It lets me think about these issues that I have. Nothing else keeps my attention. Guitar, like trying to write movies or novels, it's a whole hell of a lot of work. And my mind can't, I get hungry when I'm writing a screenplay, you know? I gotta clean the bathroom when I'm trying to write a song. With this, no, I'm here. I'm like present in the moment. And you reach that flow state for artists where like the synapses start connecting in your mind, you know? And that you get that little jolt of like, and it's like God came down and went, there you go, kiddo. And that's the chase now. That disappearing for 3 hours somewhere here and here. That's the high nowadays.
Yeah. We have a couple of folks. I interviewed a guy some time ago. His name is Doc. And he said that, there's something divine about sitting down to nothing and then standing up and there being something where you first sat down. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that. And it sounds as though that, from sharing your past, that you have maybe a similar belief.
Yeah, you can go through all days of the week. You know, you could do that. What am I trying to say here? The Judeo-Christian origin story. Yeah, you sit down with nothing, and all of a sudden, you got a whole world going. Yeah, and then all you got to do is shellac it and throw it up. Sometimes. Yeah, but yeah, when you open yourself up to that, how do you explain it?
Maybe,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking
about. How the hell do you
but
explain
it? I don't
that
know
to
that we can explain it. I don't know that, words can describe it.
You're just hoping you lend yourself to it. If you tell whatever it is, I know you're there. I believe it.
Yeah.
You want to jump in here? You want to give me a hand? Like, guide thine hand, mine hand, whatever the hell. You say it's a divine thing, and I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means something.
Yeah.
It means a couple bucks. It means tomorrow could be better for me. Just by doing one of these. Yeah. Because I have to look at a situation from all angles. Because all these different pictures are, what does this bring up? Does this bring up the dickhead in me, or does this bring up the more generous side, the more honest side?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are my motives with this thing, with this problem? Because sometimes, still, there's ways that I could be, and every time I could be that way, I decide to let the ape take over.
Yeah.
So far,
Can't drive a car of life, right? Especially not the creative life, by looking in the rearview mirror all the time.
Yeah, no, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to draw up some tragedy, there's plenty back there, though.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for sharing your story. You've been transparent. You've inspired some folks. I love your work, and I love the oranges and peanut butter.
I'm telling you,
it takes me someplace, and I'll come back to that again.
Welcome to your new life. It starts today. Yeah, there it is.
And for those folks that share, you have an opportunity to come down here, sit in the big chair, pick a couple prints. And we'll choose that winner next week. But guys, we appreciate the fact that you joined us today. And if you're watching the recorded session, Facebook keeps it up for about 30 days. We're going to put a copy over into YouTube as well. So
sure.
we keep the history of it. But over the next 30 days, anytime you put a question or a comment or a compliment in the comment section,
especially the
compliments that we're aware and we see those. So thank you for those. Jimmy, thank you for sharing. And Gotti, thank you for the space, but thank you for sharing your story. It's, you've really inspired us tonight. And again, Craig, thank you for keeping an eye on the camera.
Craig, you did a hell of a job today.
Well, thank you, sir.
And how'd you feel about that orange and peanut butter?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. I loved it.
No joke.
Changing lives over here in Negative Space.
Right? No joke. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks a lot.